I can't say around, but I know it's gonna be. I'm gonna punish him.
Okay, all right. So early?
Why can't we all just
Yeah,
Suspense is killing me.
From start to finish.
Errol Spence has delivered a chilling warning to Tim Tszyu, making it clear that when they finally meet inside the ring, there will be no room for excuses. According to Spence, the fight will be built on pressure, power, determination, and years of unfinished business that both men have carried into this moment.
I didn't feel like shaking his hand because he's one of those guys, like, he talk a lot of shit,
Yeah.
you know, behind the scenes, saying how he's gonna stop me and how he's gonna knock me out and do me like Fundora did Keith Thurman and things like that, and then you want to shake my hand. Like, why would I want to shake your hand? You talking about you gonna retire me, you gonna punish me and beat me? So I like, save it for after the fight. It's fight time, it's time to fight. Like, I'm not looking to be your friend, not trying to shake your hand. We going to war, so let's go to war.
Shawn Porter analyzes the upcoming battle between the two fighters, pointing out the major differences in their styles. He explains how those contrasting approaches could determine who dictates the tempo, controls the exchanges, and ultimately walks away from the ring with a memorable victory.
And you think that you're gonna get in the ring with what we could say is maybe a B- fighter now, maybe just a mid B fighter in Tim Tszyu. You're gonna get in the ring with a mid B fighter and think that you're gonna be this A fighter that you've always been? Absolutely not. But at the same time, Errol's talents and his style is not predicated upon what is essential for game time, right? What's essential for game time? Timing. What's essential for game time? Finding rhythm. You know,
sparring.
You know, those are things that you can find in sparring. But for a fighter that fights off of reflex, a fighter that fights off of this athleticism and talent.
Furthermore, Shawn points out that Tim Tszyu did not benefit from an extensive amateur background and has worked with fewer coaching influences throughout his professional journey. In Porter's view, that limited experience in different systems could become a significant challenge when facing a more experienced and battle-tested opponent.
If I'm not mistaken, Tim has more professional experience than he does amateur experience. And when you've only had professional experience with one coach for a substantial amount of time, and most of those times were good times, again, when we're winning, it's masking us from the things that we need to work on, you know what I mean? So that's definitely a big scar for me. Again, when we speak to the game plan and you got Jeff Fennick in your corner, I like the mesh of this is my game plan. It fits who I am, and I got somebody who wants to do, you know, so
lived and breathed it.
I do like the marriage between Jeff Fennick, Tim Tszyu, who Tim is, his abilities, along with what they have game planned.
Meanwhile, sports commentator Russ Amber explains that Tim Tszyu has developed into a completely different fighter over the years. He believes Tsyu's difficult defeat, world title triumph, and determined comeback have all combined to create a much deeper story that many fans have overlooked and never fully appreciated.
In back-to-back fights, right? They were back-to-back fights. The Fundora fight and the Bakram fight was back-to-back, wasn't it?
Yep.
So, you know, you had the luxury of coming off of a loss for a world title to fight for another world title, which doesn't happen all that often. Daniel Dubois just did it, but it doesn't happen all that often where you come off a loss and get a title shot. But it goes to show that sometimes it doesn't matter if you win or lose. It's how you lose that makes the difference, right? And sometimes how you win that keeps you off a fight.
Russ Amber also emphasizes the greatness of Terence Crawford, reminding fans that he was underestimated for years before proving his elite status with a career-defining victory over Canelo. In his opinion, a long-awaited showdown between Crawford and Errol Spence belongs in an entirely different category and carries a level of significance that separates it from this particular matchup.
You know, I think that, and Errol Spence, you know, who was highly regarded going into the Keith Thurman, into the Crawford fight, and now you see what Crawford did, you realize, wow, you know, Crawford's really that good. You know, he's done maybe we underestimated him because he's really that good. So what he did to Spence might not appear as such a big surprise now. So there's a lot of questions that have to be answered by both camps. And when you have those kind of questions, it makes for interesting fights. And that's what boxing needs to be about, right? It needs to be about interesting fights and see who's going to overcome. And this is a fight where both guys have to overcome in order for their careers to continue on the world stage.
Spence is making his return after a lengthy absence from the ring, and he has his sights firmly set on a massive challenge. He has made it clear that he has no interest in showing respect to anyone who openly talks about retiring him. Tim Tszyu, however, has fired back by questioning Spence's confidence, calling it arrogance and promising to give the former champion a harsh lesson once they meet inside the ring.
Of course, we're not supposed to like each other before the fight. That's part of the thing. But yeah, I think he's got a certain arrogance about him, and that could be because he made a shit ton of money and doesn't really need to be doing this and that type of stuff, and he really thinks down of myself. But that's all right, when we get in the ring, I really just want to hurt him. It's quite simple. That's what boxing's about.
Yeah, it's gonna be telling like how he reacts to like the first punch. Like I think that's like the biggest thing is me observing is like I want to see how he's taking these punches to know like, okay, is it the same Spence or
do I want to be in there or not? That's the question.
Another detailed breakdown comes from Bozy Ennis, who warns Tim Tszyu against overlooking Errol Spence's power or underestimating what he brings to the fight. He explains that Spence's physical strength and experience remain dangerous weapons, but he will also need to adjust to Tim's relentless pressure and unique fighting style. Ennis believes that if Spence sticks to the right game plan, stays disciplined, and makes smart adjustments, he has everything required to earn an impressive victory and remind everyone that he still belongs among boxing's elite.
What should Spence add in this training camp for Tim Tszyu? He's been out of the ring for a while. What should he be doing?
What Spence should be doing? Spence should be Spence, man. But he must move his head though, because Spence should come right at you and just throw the punches. He got to and work on catching them shots. You know what I mean? If you ain't gonna move your head, you got to catch some shots. You know what I mean? With your hands.
Decision and stoppage. How's that fight at?
I think it's gonna be a stoppage. Somebody getting stopped. And I'm going with Spence. So.
Errol, welcome back. How do you feel actually deciding to finally come back to the ring?
I feel good.
Joining the discussion, Tim Bradley says Spence understands exactly how to approach a fighter like Tim Tszyu and will not be intimidated by his style. Bradley also criticizes Tim for failing to evolve enough over the years, arguing that the best version of his career has already passed. He even makes the bold claim that Tszyu could perform so poorly that he might struggle against Spence's younger brother, a statement that reflects just how little confidence Bradley has in Tim's chances.
It don't matter, man. Errol Spence, he's one of those fighters that know how to fight. He know how to fight. Errol Spence know what the hell he got to do. Errol Spence is the master of the basics. He know what the hell he got to do. Ain't nothing gonna change. He gonna let them hands go. He gonna take it to Tim Tszyu, and Tim Tszyu is one of those guys, stand right in front of you. He ain't one of them guys that pick up his feet and move. Nah, Tim Tszyu little brother better than him. He better than him. Tim Tszyu brother probably be whooping his ass in sparring. Yeah, he be whooping his ass. I already know he do. Yeah, lefty, he be moving his head side. You know what I mean? Like, I know he be whooping his ass in the gym for real. But they don't be talking about it. But yeah, I think Errol Spence, I think he gonna beat Tim Tszyu. He gonna knock.
When discussing the matchup, Tim Bradley predicts that Errol Spence will finish Tim Tszyu by knockout. He does not expect Tszyu to deliver a convincing performance, believing the Australian has accumulated too much wear and tear throughout his career. Bradley argues that there's no longer anything especially dangerous or unpredictable left in Tim's game, and he doubts Tszyu has what it takes to deal with the level of pressure, skill, and experience that Spence is expected to bring.
He gonna beat Tim Tszyu. He gonna knock him out. Tim Tszyu is done. He 31 and he done. Too much wear and tear. He got his knocked out a couple of times. Mentally, he seems like he's strong mentally, right? And he wanted, but his body is not out. It's not responding. Like it should be. A lot of big knockouts and wars for Tim Tszyu, man. He get hit too much. You know, and that's what happens when you get hit too much. Your time, hey, is up real fast. Yeah, your career shortened like a mug. So I got Errol Spence in that fight. But it's good to see Errol back, man. I miss Errol, for real, man. You know, he looking a little bit like Bob Marley, Errol.
Roy Jones Jr. and Andre Ward also weigh in on Spence's comeback, explaining why they believe he still possesses everything needed to climb back to the top of the sport. They describe his return as exciting because of his fearless mentality, pointing out that Spence has never been afraid to accept difficult challenges, take major risks, or face elite competition instead of choosing easier opponents. According to Jones and Ward, that competitive mindset says a great deal about his character and proves there are still significant achievements waiting for him.
Who was on the way up there, who made it to the top, but had some struggles, and now he's on the incline trying to get back up too. So it's two guys trying to get back up. I think it's a great situation. But the biggest thing I gotta say that I love about Errol Spence is that Errol don't want no easy fights. Errol don't want to fight guys that are nobody.
He AKA somebody. No tune-up.
No,
he don't want no
tune-up. He wants challenges. You understand me? He wants challenges. And for him to challenge a person like Tim Tszyu, when Tim Tszyu has been regularly fighting for the last 3 years, he's been not doing much. That says a lot about Errol, but that tells you exactly how much fight is still left in Errol. Errol is a guy who's always coming to the party to dance. He don't have time to play no games, and you gotta love that about Errol.
Andre Ward believes that if Errol Spence says he plans to bring punishment into the ring against Tim Tszyu, then he is fully capable of backing up those words. Ward explains that Spence has always been known for bringing relentless intensity and setting a high standard every time he competes. He warns that Tim cannot afford even the smallest mistake because Spence's offense becomes increasingly dangerous whenever he finds an opening, and every opportunity could quickly turn into a fight-changing moment.
You know, he's not a guy that talks a lot, but he brings a big stick to the battle. And you know, when you deal with Errol Spence, you got to bring your lunch pail because he's going to bring it and he's nothing to play with. Obviously, being 36 years of age, being off as long as he hasn't had the tune-up fights. And by the way, I need my tune-up. Give me my tune-ups because boxing is hard. I need my tune-up because I need to sharpen my tools. I want to make another paycheck before I make the big paycheck, but that's just me. I need my tune-ups, but I respect this brother because he's not with the tune-up. And you got to know who you are. If Errol knows that I can't really get up for that guy, then I can only get up for these type of guys. You gotta know yourself. And Errol Spence knows himself.
Although there is plenty of excitement surrounding Spence's comeback, some concerns continue to grow as well. Lonnie B believes this may not be the ideal fight for Spence at this stage of his career and admits he does not want to see him lose to Tim Tszyu. He argues that no matter how competitive the matchup appears or how dangerous Tim may be, age and the punishment accumulated from years of hard battles eventually catch up with every fighter, and the body can never truly return to what it once was.
Like, it's good because Spence is a real fighter. He's not a punk. He's a real fighter. So it's just dangerous, man. I don't know how his body gonna respond to taking punches. You know what I'm saying? And with the car accident, I really think it's that car accident that. But you know, just personal for me, you know what I mean?
I got you. I
think Spence is a phenomenal fighter, but I don't want to see him even. I don't even want to even have the idea that he might lose to Tim Tszyu. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is Spence. This could possibly be a legend in the game. Like, I just don't want. Man.
They say Tim Tszyu's probably on his way out too. So maybe it's one of them things where like.
But I think
the fight is even because they're both at a certain level.
At the same time, the arrival of a new trainer has given many fans renewed confidence in Spence's comeback. Ronnie Shields speaks highly of the improvements he has witnessed during training and believes Spence has reached the best physical condition possible for this stage of his career. He promises that his fighter will be completely prepared for every challenge waiting ahead and warns that Spence is returning with one clear objective: to shock everyone who has doubted his ability to compete at the highest level once again.
You know, his punches are fluid. You know, he's strong, and he's throwing the punches the way I think he should throw them. And you know, defense is looking good, so everything is going great. And hey, everybody that's thinking he don't have anything left, just wait.
Boxing personalities AK and Barack praised the level of preparation Spence has shown ahead of his return, addressing concerns about his extended layoff by pointing to the outstanding shape he appears to be in. They explained that although he stayed away from the spotlight and public attention, he remained committed to training and consistently maintained his conditioning, suggesting that this comeback had been carefully planned all along. According to them, Spence's discipline, dedication, and professional approach could ultimately become the biggest factors when he finally steps back into the ring.
Even though he's not fighting a champion, Tim Tszyu ain't a tune-up.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? He's actually a very skillful fighter. He just has some losses now. You know, losing to Fundora, getting stopped or whatever, that hurt him a lot. And so they're both kind of like in the same boat.
Right.
Even though Spence only has one loss, they're both in the same boat where they need a good name now to put him right back on top because they're right, especially Spence, you're right there.
I wouldn't,
One good win.
I wouldn't disrespect Spence like that. I know you're not doing that, but they're not in the same boat. Errol Spence lost to arguably one of the greatest fighters of all time.
I understand
and
that.
that's his only loss.
And I think he can get a big fight no matter what.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tim Tszyu got to prove himself. But yeah, Errol Spence can have a big fight straight off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, he reigned at 147 for.
There is a growing belief among many analysts that Tim Tszyu will eventually discover inside the ring that Errol Spence is simply operating on another level. While Tim's toughness and determination are widely respected, many experts believe it is a mistake to place both fighters in the same category at this stage. Spence spent years dominating the welterweight division and built the reputation of one of boxing's greatest champions. His only defeat came against one of the sport's elite fighters, making this matchup a unique and potentially career-defining moment for both men.
That mess will get cleared up. Again, Errol wouldn't care. I'm looking forward to Errol Spence coming back, and I think Tim Tszyu a perfect fight. I'll say it right now, and you can take it to the bank. I'm just saying.
Take it to the
I
bank.
think Errol Spence would be too much for Tim Tszyu. I think this break is going to serve Errol Spence well. I'm so keen on that. I just think that he needed this break, and we're going to see a great version of Errol Spence.
With fighters such as Brian Norman Jr. training alongside Errol Spence during camp, confidence in his comeback continues to grow. Those close to the team believe Spence is returning as a completely different version of himself, both physically and mentally. Fans are eager to see what improvements he has made, and Brian Norman Jr. insists that everyone is in for something special. Based on what he has witnessed in the gym, he even goes as far as predicting that Spence has the ability to end the fight with a spectacular first-round knockout.
I want to see a different version of Errol Spence, and I feel like he's going to be better than he was in the past. And what I mean by that is, first-round knockout coming soon. And Tim Tszyu is going to sleep, man. The boy ain't got nothing for him. But dude from Australia, my boy, he coming to Australia just to give him the work, you feel me? But back to what I was saying, I just feel like Errol Spence, he's going to be a great fighter. He's doing the thing. I seen him at camp. And hell of a
Tim Bradley brings the same aggressive energy to the conversation, delivering another powerful warning in his trademark style. He urges Tim Tszyu to stay completely focused and think carefully before stepping into the ring with Errol Spence. Bradley believes that a fighter of Tim's level should not even be mentioned in the same conversation as someone with Spence's accomplishments, let alone receive the opportunity to challenge a former world champion who has already proven himself against the very best in the sport.
Earl gonna stop your ass, Tim Tszyu. Yeah, the battle of the veterans. That's it, man. Earl is a vet. He's a damn vet, man. He been through a lot too. He only got stopped one fight. I mean, as far as, in the ring, not a whole lot of traumatic experience besides that Crawford one, but he took the right appropriate time off. That car accident, that's a big thing. That alcohol definitely is a big thing, but other than that, I think he might be better off. I think he might be better off than Tim Tszyu right now. Tim Tszyu just ain't clicking.
Teofimo Lopez also joins the discussion, saying this is exactly the kind of boxing era he has always wanted to witness. An era where dream matchups like Tim Tszyu versus Errol Spence finally become reality. Lopez believes ring rust will not be a serious issue because Spence has remained in outstanding physical condition throughout his time away from competition. In his opinion, all Spence needs is high-level sparring to sharpen his timing before fight night, and he expects the former champion to look outstanding from the very first bell.
I don't know, man. It's Al Heyman calling these guys to come back, man, because we needed something up in the sport. This is beautiful. And I'm very honored and grateful to be in the position I'm in while all this is happening. It's a dream come true. Errol Spence, Australia, Tim Tszyu. Heck yeah. I really want to see him win.
Do you think that ring rust is going to play a factor at all with Errol?
I don't think so. I think Errol Spence has been truly like non-stop working out. He already looks like he's in shape now. And when you stay on that trajectory, when you're staying consistently on working out, it's only bound to happen with the sparrings and everything. He'll look great.
Andre Dirrell, however, offers a much more cautious perspective, warning that this contest could become Spence's final fight instead of the successful comeback many fans expect. He believes that a victory would instantly establish Tim Tszyu as a major force in boxing. Dirrell also argues that if Spence begins absorbing heavy punches, the punishment he suffered in his fight against Terence Crawford could resurface mentally and physically, making it difficult for him to perform with the same confidence, aggression, and effectiveness that once defined his championship reign.
That, again, I feel the punishment happening, could it be soon? Absolutely. And then, just like Roy, he might not see this in his head, but his brain remembers the kind of punishment he took, So when he get in there and he take them shots, whether he thinks he's ready for it or not, his brain, his screening might not be. You know what I'm saying? So all I can do is hope for the best, man. But, there's nothing special, in regards to his skill set, right? Again, he's just a come forward fighter, and he's decent, and what he does is he's a decent boxer. But he is. This could be potentially dangerous. Again, it's 50-50, man. This could be Tim Tszyu's fight, his comeback.
Continuing his assessment of Spence's future, Andre Dirrell says retirement may ultimately be the smarter decision than risking another dangerous fight at this point in his career. He believes Spence has already accomplished enough to guarantee his place among boxing's respected champions, and another loss could damage the legacy he spent years building. Although Dirrell respects Spence's competitive nature and desire to keep fighting, he feels the risks now outweigh the potential rewards of returning to the ring.
Putting him back on the map, and this could be Errol Spence's comeback, put him back on the map. But a loss of both of these boys, even a close fight or the wrong fight, tell us what we need to know about Spence. It might be time for him to hang it up, man. He should have been comfortable with hanging it up right now. He didn't need a win, or he doesn't need a win to sell off into the sunset. You did it all. You know what I'm saying? I think I had a great career, and I'm nowhere near what this man did in his career. You know what I'm saying? So some fighters just got to learn how to come to terms with that, but you can only hope for the best.
As fight night approaches, the biggest question remains whether Errol Spence can prove that his time away from the ring has not taken away the qualities that once made him one of boxing's most feared and dominant champions. For Tim Tszyu, this represents the biggest opportunity of his career and a chance to earn the defining victory he has been chasing. One fighter is searching for redemption and a successful comeback, while the other is determined to secure the most important win of his professional journey.
This is let's go. Let's minus the Crawford fight, guys. Let's go back before the Crawford fight. And we know the big fish. Anybody standing in front of him, so I think that Tim Tszyu possesses the perfect style. He's gonna be right there. You know what I'm saying? He lacks a lot of defense. You know what I'm saying? Maneuvers, and I think that's where the downfall is gonna be at. Other than that, he's a very tough fighter. He comes forward. He has a lot of heart. You know what I'm saying? He's great. But a style like a Errol Spence walk down, that's not gonna be. That's ooh. That's watch what I say. No cap.
So, what do you think will happen when these two fighters finally meet? Will Errol Spence silence every doubter and prove that he still belongs among boxing's elite? Or will Tim Tszyu pull off the biggest victory of his career and announce the beginning of a new chapter? Share your prediction in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more boxing news, fight analysis, and the latest updates from the world of boxing.